The fun of Doctor Who is that it's a lucky dip. This means there is probably as much good as there is bad, and to say that I dislike a significant chunk of the programme doesn't mean I'm any less of a fan. It's just what I like about it. Sometimes I like the bad as much as I do like the good. Hey, it's One Take Davis again, doing this video in one take, very popular, goes down great, looking at a list of my top 50 least favourite televised episodes of Doctor Who. I made this list, I think, 2 months ago now. I hold to it, I stick to it. The few episodes I did see of Series 2 of Doctor Who will not be making the list. As please remember, going forward, there is a definitive cutoff with this channel. I will not be able to talk about stories beyond Story in the Engine. For me, that's my signing off point, I guess. Sorry, it's for Sammy's sanity. Today's challenge is something I've lifted from the theme park fandom. Can I force myself? Can I find a glimmer of good in things that I have condemned? Written off for scrap. These are 50 episodes of Doctor Who I really dislike, but I'm not allowed to say anything truly negative about them. The rules are we have to clear all 50 of these before I'm allowed to sign off. I'm not allowed to go on to the next one until I've thought of one positive thing to say about the story. It can't be a cheat. And also, if I catch myself being truly negative or slipping in a little insult, I get a strike. 3 strikes and I'm out. So this will be an exciting experiment for us both. Number 1. Starting with my favourite of the top 50 worst, it's gotta be The Web Planet. The Web Planet is the only episode of Doctor Who I've started and never finished. It's a lot. Already got close to a strike there, didn't I? There is so much ambition on display in The Web Planet. Audiences say back in the 60s they had never seen anything like this on terrestrial TV. That in of itself is a positive. I just am someone who really likes good sound design and can get a bit wound up by repetition. Who's to say if The Web Planet has any of that in it, because I never really got that far. My other line in the sand of Doctor Who. No, Web Planet is arguably a very good story. I think I would hear anybody out. If you can get past the visceral siren-like soundscape, I think I get along with the plots. I definitely get along with the crew. I love this TARDIS team. I think I have to upvote the sheer audacity of the thing. This was season 2 of Doctor Who. Doctor Who's most imaginative and untamed year on the record. And everybody on set is completely leaning into that. And they do great. The Web Planet is good because of its sheer audacity. I like that. These do descend and get slowly worse and worse. Listen to the Sea Devils. Skipping a lot of decades here. I do not have as vocal a reaction to this episode as some of you do. For a lot of people, this was the last nail in the coffin. I just sort of shrugged and thought, guys, this is the same as the last 20 pieces of television that just aired. I could just say John Bishop's pirate getup. That's a funny gag. I think the CG is really nice. But the best thing about Legend of the Sea Devils is its real-world historical subject matter. The Chibnall years get a lot of credit for unearthing more hidden parts of history, making the historicals more exciting. And you don't even have to be Demons of the Punjab to tap into that. Eastern piracy, more historical female figures from history that I didn't know. It's always going to be welcome. I really love that aspect of Legend of the Sea Devils. Fear her, fear her, fear her, fear her. I like Series 2. You know that, right? Even at these characters' worst, I like this pairing. This one's actually quite easy. It's the villain, the Isolus. What a brilliant, different angle to take a villain. As I've gotten older, I've only had more time for sympathetic child antagonists. Hell, it's even a struggle to call it that. A lost child lashing out, or not understanding things. These are some of the best premises that Doctor Who has. A series with a lot of time for children. And I think Chloe Webber, the thankless role that it is, I think a good shot is made at it. It definitely has the right priorities, especially for someone like me who was Chloe Webber's age myself when the episode aired. It's got its ear down to the ground, and Doctor Who on your council estate, in your cul-de-sac? I'm sorry, yeah, that does something, that tickles me. The Widow and the Wardrobe. Right. Positive. Gonna be tricky. I suppose Matt Smith is the right pick of a Doctor. I think it's a little bit of a redundant Christmas special if you didn't have Matt Smith. He's such an obvious match for this material. Is that enough? Good kid actors. Yeah, I'll go that far. I'll go as far to say that. We've got 2 really young performers in this episode expected to carry it, and unlike maybe the previous episode, half strike there? No, that's fine. That one's been put to bed now. Widow and the Wardrobe has a good side cast, a good young side cast, and they really pull off and make me feel things. Also, it's Christmas, so you can have a little bit of fluff on TV. It's fine. And whilst we're talking about other stories that are just fine, but I would say hard to compliment, Space Babies. Space Babies is my number 5. Oh, actually, that's easy. It's Ncuti Gatwa being a complete wind-up.
That thing was more sort of like a,
Boogeyman!
No, stop it! Nanny, you tell them there's no such thing as the Bogeyman.
Nanny is scared of the Bogeyman.
That's something I really like about his Doctor that feels new. He winds Ruby up in this and makes the babies cry for absolutely no reason other than his own amusement. It's not cruel, it's just funny, and that got a proper laugh out loud reaction from me. It's a little part of his personality I like a lot. Nobody said these had to be equal compliments. That one was quite a passing one about one line in particular, but it did leave an impression. Planet of Evil. Easy. This one only really is on here because of parts 3 and 4, I think. The first half of the serial is on the Jungle World, and it's colourful and beautiful. A really exciting take on Forbidden Planet, I guess. I could split this one right down the middle of what I like and what I don't like. So yeah, the first 50% of the serial, it's peak Doctor Who. A production team who are matching the powers of Elizabeth Sladen and Tom Baker. It looks great. And that location gets my imagination racing. Before we landlock ourselves into interiors for the rest of the story's duration. Yeah, that was a little passive aggression there, wasn't it? Okay, I'm gonna give myself a strike. It's tough because I want to give you context on why these stories might be here in the first place. I can imagine a lot of you are just gonna be in the comments shit talking my taste in general. That's fine. My list, right? It wouldn't be a very interesting challenge if I just had to think up compliments of your least favourite stories, would it? Because we probably have very different tastes. Before we go on to the next one, I do want to say, just try and focus on me and my copes here, rather than the quality and sheer state of the list. If any of you have ever followed my retrospectives, a lot of these actually won't be surprises either. Kablam has filled my thoughts. I've really let it run my life since the episode aired. I haven't been able to shake it. It's infectious. It's brand of politics. I could just keep reading and reading about, trying to dig underneath the surface and find out if there is truly anything there and what the writer was trying to say about it. So it has a lasting impression, going from the fan art that I made to the various essays I've read. Yeah, infuriating Doctor Who can be a good springboard for forming your own opinions and your own art. Yeah, if I had to talk about something specifically in the episode itself, I think it's well made. I don't think there's anything production-wise that looks cheap in it. There's a funny little robot. Nah, this is weak. I'm going to go back to my previous point so we can move on. Number 8, Joy to the World. I was so checked out this Christmas just gone. I didn't have a thought in my head, and I still rocked up to the Who Knew podcast to talk about it. God damn. If I squint my eyes and forget that it was written by Stephen Moffat, there's a chance that this one wouldn't be on here. But it is, and so it is. My immediate thought was the setting. Is the setting good? A time hotel is interesting, but that's just the TARDIS. Your story is set in a narrative TARDIS. So that's actually not enough to go off of. I think a lot of people have already commented on Ncuti's range in this one. The camera is on him constantly. We never really leave Ncuti Gatwa's side in this. And that's not really happened in the 15th Doctor's run. So it's really great getting Ncuti time. He gets more to work with just because of the screen time allotted to him. I'm not as big of a fan as the hotel stuff. It confuses me, it muddles me a bit. So I definitely won't be saying the pacing, but yeah, following the Doctor's emotional through line through the thing is a form of pacing, and that does work. Probably. Yeah. It's okay, I'm cheating. It's Ncuti Gatwa. Getting to be a little goblin in this one, frankly. Number 9, it's Frontier in Space. Easy. I think you know the reason I don't vibe with Frontier in Space. Hey, I don't get a strike if I just reference a previous video. Oh, I do? Okay, then I won't do that. Frontier in Space is Roger Delgado's best ever outing. That's probably not subjective. John Pertwee is his perfect straight man. Katie Manning is often paired with him in that story, so yeah, it's gotta be the charm and downright comedy from Delgado. Frontier in Space is funny. When things are happening in Frontier in Space, it's very exciting. Yeah. ... Number 10, Keys of Marinus. I can't just say Imagination again, that would be cheating. Keys of Marinus. Oh, I actually find that one quite hard. I don't despise Keys of Marinus. We're still in the phase where they're mostly harmless. I like the Vords. The Vord themselves. So the first episode and the final episode, at the very least, that's a cool alien design. With their little scuba diving flippers and everything. I like their world. I like them. I would like to go and see them again. Yet, that counts. That counts. On to the next one. The Timeless Children. For a lot of people, this is like the real nadir of the Whittaker years. I don't agree. I don't agree with that at all. You can find my reaction to it, my fresh reaction to it on the channel. I think Timeless Children is a mixed bag with strange priorities and storytelling presentation. Yeah, you know what? Strange, bad. Have a strike. Forming a story around a lore dump will never be engaging to me, 80s fans. Stop it. I will sacrifice a strike just for that. Shit, we're really early on. But what Timeless Children is good at is the visual presentation. It looks gorgeous. I remember editing with it for one of those OPs I did back in the day, and there's nothing to fault there. I like the way the Timeless Children looks. The sort of dirty colour palette as well. It really works for this story, at least. Yeah, everyone is shot brilliantly, lit brilliantly, and staged brilliantly. There's some lovely CGI in this as well, and it just, yeah, I could watch this on mute and have a great time. Number 12, Revenge of the Cybermen. Wookiee Hole? I mean, I've been to Wookiee Hole before. Can I just say Wookiee Hole? Wookiee Hole. Dreamland is on here. The Telltale Games animated David Tennant special. Well, I love animation, so there's that. I almost said, if you can call that animation, but I didn't say that, so that's not a strike. Dreamland is the first Doctor Who story to talk about Roswell, Area 51. Yeah, I think on paper, this is probably a really good premise and a good script. I think it probably suits an animated project. because it's a big and exciting location, but not many assets are really required for it. Yeah, I think they told a fair story within their means for the right medium. Yeah, that one's actually quite good. Okay. Number 14, you're not going to like this. Partners in Crime. I keep souring on this episode for reasons I can't really get into here because of the strike thing in place. One more and I'm out, I think. So I won't be talking about the sense of humour, and I won't be talking about the plot. Partners in Crime is well directed. There we go. That's the visual comedy and good editing of it lands a lot of the punchlines, especially before the Doctor and Donna meets. It's got such a pulse, it's got such adrenaline to it, and every gag where they nearly meet but just don't, it's got a real symmetry to it. Really creatively shot, like a screwball comedy. So that stuff makes me laugh. The dialogue doesn't quite do it for me. But I don't have to talk about Rusty Davis's sneering approach to overweight people. So that's okay. Moving on. The Celestial Toymaker. So clearly, there was something in the premise that got the episode made when nobody else wanted to make it. And clearly there was something in that premise that justified being brought back for the 60th anniversary. I don't just think it was mindless fan service, because new viewers can probably understand his deal from his name and appearance alone. A scary Toymaker, that's an archetype in fiction. Tons of series have Toymaker villains now, and it's great. The story is creepy. It tries to be creepy and it pulls that off from a soundstage. No, you know what? I'm just going to cheat. There could have been more body horror if that's the direction they were going. I'm just going to say the animation. I was absolutely blown away by this thing, and I think they should do more out there animations in the future, especially for stories like this that really, really warrant it. Eventually got the direction it deserved. There we go. An injection of passion at some point, retroactively, decades and decades later. 16, Nightmare of Eden. The Mandrels, I like them. If that is what they are called, they are very sweet. Romana gets to lead an episode because Tom Baker potters off and strops throughout most of the story. Yeah, it's one of those stories where, maybe just as a production necessity, Romana does a lot of heavy lifting. I like all of the strange things that the passengers have on their person. Like, yes, we are stuck in grey spaceship interiors, but there's a nice geography to Nightmare of Eden that I do appreciate. There are interesting places on this spaceship to go. And that's a rare, especially in the early 80s. Planet of Fire, I can't pass. Like P-A-R-S-E, this story. My brain always shuts off when I put it on. Sometimes my goal has been to watch it, to pay attention this time, and it still doesn't quite do it. That's a problem with me. That's not a criticism on the episode, per se. Maybe... We're on location? It's not really good enough. Any classic story where we shoot on location is obviously good, but Planet of Fire, let's say on the script level, it makes a last minute 11th hour attempt to give Turlough an explanation, a character, more of a personality. Is it my favourite companion stuff done in this era? No. But without this episode to send him off, I think Turlough would have been a big old question mark in Classic Who. He found his people, he found his guys. I assume you gotta be happy for him. Number 18, Sleep No More. Well, it's got Peter Capaldi in it, and Jenna Coleman. I am also a big Inside Number 9 fan. But this fact about me will not help us get on to the next episode, because I don't think it's a particularly Great outing. Okay, cut that thought off. Sleep no more. Sleep no more. Jenna Coleman and Peter Capaldi are good at acting to the camera. If this story is hard to follow, it's not because the lead actors are unengaging. I also like its commitment to the bit. Yeah, that's actually a really good one. There's no opening title sequence and stuff like that. Mark Gatiss really did submit an Inside Number 9 script to Doctor Who. Number 19 was staying in the revival with the Crimson Horror. I think I need to rewatch the Crimson Horror. I don't think it deserves to be all the way down here. It's a very fruity story. It depends on how much you like this side cast of characters that Moffat has created. Are the Paternoster guys my guys? I wouldn't be so certain about that. But But if there is something to like, I think it's the villain plan. I couldn't tell you 100% what the villain plan is. But I remember it being quite unique. A model neighbourhood. The accents. The production design. Yeah, let's say all of that. You really need somebody who knows what they're talking about more than me and the Crimson Horror. Number 20, it's the Lie of the Land. Ugh. I could say plenty of great about the other two parts of this three-parter, but if we're just talking about Lie of the Land, you're going to have to give me a minute. Perhaps you could say that Lie of the Land was very topical. Articles and books were being written on the emergence of post-truth, a villain plan who invades only via propaganda. It's very in step with what we were doing and where we were at in 2017. Fake News Central. Lines like that don't help, but you get what it's going for, and I don't think it fails it. It definitely doesn't say anything reprehensible, right? It's just a bit hokey. And hokey is a word I pick lovingly. So again, I really need a judge for this video because I am not a trustworthy judge of my own concepts. I don't like Lie of the Land, but there was no hate in my heart when I said that. On to the next one, it's Warriors from the Deep. On paper, it's good. I make this point in my 5th Doctor retrospective. If you just read this on the page or as a Target novelization, there's a lot of good in it. Probably a very serviceable episode of Doctor Who. But if we pretend that this story was made on a healthy, functioning production, I think this story has potential. A lot of potential, and it wouldn't be all the way down here. The ending line is what this one gets remembered for quite a lot, and that's when people try to remember it on its good days. The end line is a really haunting message, and Davison delivers it fantastically. You just have to disregard the rubber suits in the background and what the previous 4 parts have been. And also how they reach this finale is also whack. Okay, that's a strike. That's a strike, Sam! What are you doing? Oh, it's okay though, because I get one more and then I'm out. Come on, you gotta let me have one more. You gotta let me have one more. It's card game rules. You've gotten rid of all 3 of my life now, and now you need to attack for game. Yeah, that's how it works, actually. We are not even halfway through this list. What is wrong with my brain? I do not have the chill for this. 22, Nightmare in Silver. A lot of people, a lot of actors in particular, really rate Matt Smith's performance as Mr. Clever. I'm not one of those people, and I'm definitely not going to talk about the great writer. Anyway, Clara holds her own in this one in a really interesting way. She takes on the role of Doctor Who for the first time, probably. Nightmare in Silver ultimately is set in a theme park. It's set in a defunct theme park. And that is my positive. There is just a clear overlap of interests there. But that's fine, because that's all I need for this. 23. The Wedding of River Song. There's a lot of Matt Smith in here. Actually, I'm not surprised. Wedding of River Song has good character beats in it. Like, in passing, I might say Amy's final chat with River. I like the Doctor slamming down the Dalek eye stalk on the table. I kind of like the Doctor just going around doing intergalactic space stuff solo. I think the episode belongs to Karen Gillan with that one line.
River Song didn't get it all from you, sweetie.
The one beat where she kills Madame Kavarian. That works for me. That works for Amy. And Wedding of River Song quietly justifies a lot about the melody story. It might not feel satisfying in the moment because we've got the Lake Silencio stuff, but it does feel like a sleight of hand trick to make me accept River Song as the daughter of Rory and Amy and believe it, have feelings about it. I emotionally buy it by the time this episode is over, and that's not nothing. It's a shame that they don't really have much time together as a unit after this episode, though. I think it is just Angels Take Manhattan, isn't it? I mean, it's good there. That's nice. Wedding of River Song, thank you for doing some of the footwork for Angels Take Manhattan, a story that I actually do quite like. Number 24, it's still Matt Smith in The Snowmen. Snowmen has a stacked cast. I don't have to comment on how they were used, or their impact, or memorability. Just that it had a stacked cast. I think Snowmen is probably quite imaginative. It's got the memory worm, the Punch and Judy, the ice sculpture, the snowmen, and the TARDIS above the clouds. Yeah, it's picturesque. Number 25, Orphan 55. Orphan 55 is a controversial episode of Doctor Who. What do I like? I like Ryan. This is one of the big stories where I think Ryan Sinclair is the standout. He gets to be funny. He has his whole subplot where I actually feel for the guy. This is the one that probably clued me in. The fact that Ryan Sinclair is quite a charismatic character, but you have to really look for it. It endeared me to Tosin Cole's companion. 26, The Invisible Enemy. Oh, lots of strange effects and some strange character introductions. There's a lot, and at the same time I think I've only watched it the once, so there isn't a lot. Not in my brain. I think they defeat the villain in a pseudo-interesting way. Am I correct in saying that? Leela is good audience identification because we are in a future that is very, very strange and quite alien to us. So she's a good audience insert for that. That is about all I want to say on The Invisible Enemy. Number 27, The Sensorites. Another easy one, because it's another 60s story from Series 1 that is very atmospheric in its early episodes. I probably just don't feel very strongly about this one, and the only reason it's at this point in the list is because of what it does offer. I think Susan is very unsettling in this. There's that great cliffhanger, which is the only thing anybody ever really says about the Sensorites. But I think it's got a good Star Trek type conflict. It's got a good head on its shoulders. The Sensorites world has rules, and because they have that internal logic and that consistency to them, they can be tricked. Very simply, these are very simple things, but the way you deal with the Sensorites is not the same way you deal with any other generic monster of the week. Yeah, atmospheric, logical, plot-based defeat. Number 28, The Invasion of Time. Give me a second. I said give me a second. If I could phone a friend and call up my 14-year-old self, I'm sure he would have something. As it stands, now that there is no mystique around Time Lords at all, it's markedly trickier. Tom Baker, at this time, is kind of a scary actor. Moffat put it best, right? He's got one of those smiles that when it fades, it's like ice. It's like frozen ice, because this is a man who's meant to be happy and friendly and smiley. Maybe Tom Baker plays that beat too much, advertently or inadvertently, but in this instance it was on purpose, and it's pretty sinister. There's no wink wink to the audience or any hints to the companion, so you're really left on your own for a long period of time, and that, that brings out some feelings in me, some distrust in me. 29 minutes, it's Mark of the Rani. Mark of the Rani. I watched this back with friends just the other day, and we were like, is there anything good? Is there anything in Mark of the Rani? And we saw the Master vaporize a dog. We saw the Doctor get rolled down a very big hill. We saw the Rani feed maggots to a very angry, dirty man. I can't say that Pip and Jane Baker's OC makes an introduction that puts the Rani into my Hall of Fame, but I think Perry looks very, very sweet in this one. Hideous pantomime, dress and all. Yeah, I really think that's the best I've got. I was about to blag something about the scientific approach of the Rani, but no. No. I'm not going to be doing that today, no thank you. I am not going to be justifying the Z list. Number 30, it's Battlefield. I've got friends who like this one. It's geeky, but it at least knows what it wants to be, right? The fantasy stuff does kind of lend itself to the 80s nerdcore. No more lives, no more insults. We all know what Battlefield is, right? It just comes down to whether you've got the time for it. I like the Destroyer. I like it when Doctor Who does genre play. So yeah, you can have that one. There was a Big Finish short trip called Doctors and Dragons that did pretty much the same thing in a different plot, and I really liked it there. I think that era of the show does lend itself to dorkier subject matter. All hope was not lost for Battlefield. It just does some other things which lose me, personally. 31. The Twin Dilemma. Alright, Azrael. Yeah, the Doctor's longtime friend. He's a wrong'un, don't get me wrong, should not have abducted those kids. But when the Doctor sees him again, it's the first little glimmer we get of, oh, Colin Baker is not a bad actor. He's just being made to do strange decisions by the script and director. I'll say this, Colin Baker does them all. He throws himself headfirst into everything. He has a lot of faith in those two factors I just mentioned. He has a lot of faith that this story will work. And I don't think he's ever cringe. Is that good to say? I don't think he's ever doing a poor job. And it makes those moments where you do have the Doctor sober and clear-headed and reasonable all the better. And those moments, I think, are usually the ones where he's with a character who we've never met before, but he gets along with famously, like Azrael. Also, oh no, I like Murderer! That's a winner. That's a winner. 32. Dot and Bubble. I know what Dot and Bubble is doing. I know it's sleight of hand game it's playing. I know this because the episode told me at the end very, very plainly and gave itself a little clap in the Unleashed. I don't need to brag when I say, yeah, no, I saw the race within the first 15 minutes. Maybe I didn't catch any of the little jabs, the little microaggressions. That probably quite well written. That's probably a good thing to come back to. But no, when I see a rich fascist society, I assume in British media that they will be white. That was not a shock for me. I think it's clever introducing Mr. Tuesday, whatever he was, as a Doctor surrogate and then abandoning him. I think it's clever that the audience will gravitate towards a Doctor figure. A white man exhibiting all the same usual traits. Run! Grabbing Rose Tyler's hand and running from the monsters. Yeah, I see that. That's admirable. I don't like this story at a fundamental level, alright? It's probably a 1 out of 10, if I had to be real with you, which means that everything underneath this is also a 1 out of 10. We are at number 32 of 50. The microaggressions are written very well. They are quite subtle for someone who wanted to write in the N-word. into a Series 4 script. Let's say Dr. P. I like the P Doctor. If I ever do Comic-Con, that's who I'll be coming as in cosplay. Dr. P is one for the ages, and probably this era's lasting legacy. Oh, okay, that one won't go down well, but at least it wasn't in the first 10 seconds when the average hater is usually logged off. The Vanquishers has really good opening title music. Okay. There's that one really great scene with Jodie. It's probably the strongest in her run, where she gets paired against the Grand Serpent and is doing pretty standard Doctor fare, but she manages to dominate and ridicule the villain of the week in her own unique manner. And I really liked that and wish we'd seen more. 13 is adorable in this episode. Silver Nemesis is next. It's carnage. It's bedlam. I did this video recently. Something to like about it is the way that McCoy enters a room. He can do his full Charlie Chaplin, Patrick Troughton fare in this one, unimpeded. I like Ace up in the rafters fighting the Cybermen. Everybody does, because it's obviously very good and very fun. The way the Cyberman drops down, it looks dangerous. It looks like a stunt that actually was quite dangerous. So yeah, the action for both the Doctor and Ace. That was actually quite painless. Number 35 is Morin Undead. I don't know what to say positive about Morin Undead. This might have to be a pass, which would be my final strike. And then, I end the video early? No, I'd have to keep going. Something positive about Morin Undead. I liked the hypothetical original version that would have starred Ian Chesterton. I think that could have worked, about story about memory, but once you take him out, I'm not sure I can make that point very substantially. It introduces Turlo. Again, just like his exit, his entrance is on my least favourite episodes of all time list. But Turlo as a character I appreciate very much, and having an unpredictable element in the TARDIS is very, very exciting and new territory for this programme. We had it slightly with Adric in previous seasons, but it's something I always like in my TARDIS team. Fugitive of the Jadoon is at 36. You might be surprised about the placement of this. Why does this one sting so much? I think it's because an original story did exist and then it got hollowed out. But no, we're talking about the story that does exist, and it's obviously Jo Martin and the silhouette she cuts. Everybody and their mum liked the casting of Jo Martin. She threatened to make the Fugitive and Timeless Children stuff work, just because it was so different a choice, but so obviously a great cast. It's also one of the few surprises that this era managed to pull off, without it getting leaked. So there's something to admire in that. Series 12 has a couple of those actually. It might be the only series in Doctor Who's revival that managed to keep a lid on spoilers. If you're someone who really loves those revelations about lore, this episode has your back. Number 37 is the Space Pirates. Space Pirates probably should be quite good. It was a very hands-off production. It was quite cast-led. The cast worked with the director, and they made a pretty stoic, functional bit of sci-fi. You've got these 3 sets and these 6 actors, and we'll get Pat in at some point, presumably. Positive. That would require me to remember real details about the plot, and it's just not that kind of story. Perhaps the hunt for this one. Perhaps the missing episode hunt is the positive to take away. If that's a cop-out, please do tell me, but I think missing stories have activated a different section of the fandom, and it's a different fan activity that people can do and speculate about. And I think it makes it more exciting than just having episodes 3 to 6 of the Space Pirates. Okay? I bet the Target novelization is okay. That's probably alright. It was written by Terry Dix. There's a little bit of pathos to the character of Madeline. I remember at the end, she gets a reunion with her father, but it's bittersweet. because she knows she's about to be arrested for taking part in a outer space conspiracy. They end the episode in a place of drama. 38, it's Arc of Infinity, Amsterdam. I went to Amsterdam on holiday this year. That was really nice. It was only a stopover gap. Went to the film museum. We also went down the canals. I had a little cakey that made me get a little bit shaky. Yeah, I like Amsterdam. 39, Survivors of the Flux. But hang on, there's an easy answer here, because it's Tecteun. Tecteun is Chibnall's best idea. So much of what has come out since would simply just make more sense if Tecteun was a new, ongoing villain of the series. The adoption angle of the Flux is not lost on me. That's a very personal touch, and it does add more to the character. Tecteun is your means to actually inspect that, to actually get something out of it, to squeeze the juice. But no, the story chooses not to do that, killing her instantly. I don't even particularly love the scenes that she is in, but it's another case of potential. Chibnall might have introduced, without realising it, Doctor Who's highest scale, biggest stakes, personally relevant final villain of Doctor Who. That's something that Chibnall did. We just didn't go there. We just didn't do that. But it's the part that definitely intrigues me the most about his run. Just Tecteun as an individual and potential recurring character. Oh god, this is getting rough. Time Lash. There's only 10 more to go. There's only 10 more. Time Lash has the Bandrils. So we like the Mandrils and we like the Bandrils on this channel. There's a very dorky H.G. Wells, and the pairing of historical writer getting the inspiration for his famous works, and then whatever the fuck Time Lash is doing, that's a very funny combo. That's an interesting, dare I say, combo. Those are two new series concepts that don't really go together. It's like if you brought Charles Dickens onto Platform 1 in End of the World. I'm not saying it's good, but I'm saying I'll hear it out. It's a random inclusion that I probably do have a bit of a soft spot for, as lame as it is. 41, this is genuinely dispiriting. I thought this would be a great premise when I started, adding a little bit of positivity to areas where you hadn't considered them before or even looked for them before, but that means that I now have to compliment Victory of the Daleks. That Ironside Daleks go hard. Maybe we can say that a Spitfire in space isn't a terrible, terrible effect. Maybe we could say that Ian McNeice is a joy. I really, really like that individual actor. Oh, blah, 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 uh-oh. Number 42, The Faceless Ones. The episode starts well. Jamie doesn't know what an aeroplane is, and his fear of the flying beasties is probably the peak of the story. Jamie gets a good love interest. She's a plucky little sort. She has a future companion written all over her, and it's sad that we sort of left her where she was. Ben and Polly don't have a very good send-off, but they are favourite companions of mine. I'm sure they all take their turns being possessed and in space jail. This serial is so plotty because there isn't much to do or many places to go. There's a lot of problems to solve. A lot of scrapes to get in and out of. Lasers. James Bond lasers. To running away from airport security. There's a very good scene where the Doctor messes with airport security. General strength of the cast. They're very much at their usual game. Time flight. They're getting less controversial, have you noticed? It is like the objectively bad ones now. I suppose my answer would be the same again. Episode 1 gets off to a strong start. There's a plane. The Doctor has some conversations with airport security. Yeah, it's very funny that these two got placed together. That wasn't intentional. But now the cast isn't even as strong. Maybe you could say the episode redeems itself slightly by forgetting about Adric in the first scene. Because there's that bit later where they are showing their fears as a dispelling security measure. Nissa and Tegan see the Melka, they see the Master, they see Adric. And that's a brief glimmer, a tiny second window of character. The gang do remember who Adric is. So that's nice. Just not the Doctor. Number 44, Legend of Ruby Sunday. There's nothing really extra to say about this one. I covered it very in depth in a Who track with the lovely George. You don't see Sutek for very long in this, but I do like the dog design. That is the work of some talented digital creatives and some lovely concept art. I think Sutek's voice and design deserves commendation even if the reveal itself doesn't. The time window is also a good scene, probably. Yeah, no, I think so. From the Doctor laughing at it, to the snow effect as it boots up, it looks good, and it does build some tension, admittedly. 45. The Ultimate Foe. Every time I have to talk about this serial on the channel, I just get a bit sad, because it was unavoidable, the flaws of this one. Maybe there was a skeleton by the late Rob Holmes, maybe. But this is also the story that does have Colin Baker's most famous monologue. I like it when the Time Lords open up the stand and Mel and Glitz and the Master rock up, because something's finally happening on the courtroom set. Maybe I even really like this episode until the Valiard leaps into the Matrix. So yeah, the first 15 minutes, the courtroom scenes, they are not without merit, and Colin Baker gets to act his arse off. The climax of this saga doesn't really take place in the courtroom, but what little satisfaction and wrap up we do get there, I think it goes a long way. Oh my god. Arachnids in the UK. For a very, very long time, I would call this the worst episode of Doctor Who. This is a quote. I'm not losing my last strike now. I'm explaining to you why I said that in the past and making amends for why it's no longer my least favourite. So if anything, this is a positive upgrade for Arachnids in the UK, a story with no motivation or imagination within it. Is it going through the motions? Absolutely. Is a whole episode padding for time? Yeah, no doubts. But it does have one of the more interesting reasons for a companion joining the TARDIS. And that's with Graham. He only has 2 significant scenes that really play into this, but going back to his flat, his cobweb-ridden flat without Grace is a very affecting scene, and it tells us everything visually. This is what he's got for him waiting at home. And so his final decision to join the TARDIS and not just languish in cobwebs and old Force ghosts, it makes the ending quite satisfying. He's going on to something a lot better. And that last scene, once the whiplash of shooting the spiders is gone, once we actually are back at the TARDIS, that is an exciting, inciting incident for the rest of the series. The gang are now all companions for real. They all put their hands in the middle, and the Doctor warns them, quite passively, you're not going to be the same people when you come back. That scene in isolation is really, really good, and probably, now that I've given that episode its dues, one of the best moments of the season. Okay, that felt good. Healing. We're doing healing today, aren't we? Number 47, Time and the Rani. Do I like Tet Traps? That's a fantastic question, Mr. Speaker. I would say I'm impartial to Tet Traps. It's not a good plan, per se, but it might be another case where the inhabitants of the planet they're on, Lacertia, they are doing interesting things, and interesting things have been done to the Lacertian people. I am so full of shit. No, there's nothing redeeming in this one. There's nothing I like in this one. But I did blag something about the way the Lacertians were kept in leisure spas or something. I like Bonnie Langford's impression of the Tet Traps that she does on the audiobook. She does a real little goblin voice, and it's bliss. Number 48. really resisting the urge to not put Eurovision Song Contest here, but that wouldn't be beneficial. No, actually probably wouldn't even be fair. Instead, we're going to put Dimensions in Time. The fact that anybody would want to go back to Dimensions in Time's table scraps, it depresses me at my fucking core. That's a complaint about a different episode, which isn't Dimensions in Time. Dimensions in Time has, I guess there's a couple pairings. It's fun to see this Doctor with that companion at the very basis level. I think I like that the Brigadier arrives with a helicopter and Pertwee still got it. Jumps up into the helicopter. I bet John Pertwee had a lot of fun. I think the way in which he walks into... Can't believe I'm about to say this. Fucking brace yourself for this. The way he walks into Noel Edmonds' house on that Children in Need set. That's Doctor Who. I think that's not even the episode itself, but the exuberance, the confidence, the big dick energy that John Pertwee has when he strolls into Noel Edmonds' home. That's in power. That's in power. Imagine if John Pertwee did that, flirted his way into your home, and then stuck on something as fucking atrocious as Dimensions in Time. I suppose I like interactive media. If you go on my channel, the best video I have, one of the best performing ones as well, is a video about interactive media and the potential of voting in to find out which one of the EastEnders cast tells off the Rani. That's TV history right there, right? Last two. There's one classic and then there's one revival. Take a little guess as to what you think they could be. Okay. 49. Armageddon Factor. At this point, I think it's worth using up the last strike. Yeah, you know what? I gave myself a little pity strike, a little extra chance, and I'm gonna burn it. Armageddon Factor has nothing good going for it. Maybe the Doctor tricking the Black Guardian, because the Black Guardian's pretending to be the White Guardian at the end. Maybe that. Because Tom Baker does some weird fuck shit with his eyes. That's a slightly passing, cute scene that ends this sordid saga off forever. I think I'll have to go with that, because if I try and think about any other part of this story, my critical faculties, they fail me. I've said it all before. The Armageddon Factor is nothing. And 50, my personal least favourite episode of Doctor Who prior to the airing of the intergalactic space song adventure, is Spyfall II. I dislike this one as much as I do because of my deep, earned fandom brain. This story does a lot of things, some ethical issues as well, but mostly lore decisions that broke my fandom a bit back in the day. I don't think things have ever really stabilised since. It's definitely where the Whittaker years dropped off. But my god, this episode just has a whole cavalcade of horrors of its very own. I don't like Dewan, I'm sorry. I don't like the plot, not one bit. I don't like its handling of historical figures. I think I like the selection. I think I like the picks of historical figures to meet and talk about if we had a proper episode of Doctor Who to meet them with. The inventors of the computer. Alan Turing would have been really nice in there as well. But no, we were already in another thing, and the other thing was Doctor Who's least finest hour. I truly don't know what to pick here. I think Spyfall Part 1 has a lot of positives, but Part 2 beats me. And this was a challenge, a fun challenge, that I failed completely. I hope that the comments are filled with moral judgments of my character and the optics of posting such a video. I'm sorry I could not be a better man for you. I hate what I hate, I love what I love what I hate, and I hate what I love. As is fandom. Anyway, don't leave a comment about, oh, you don't like the partners in crime? Because you know that I don't like partners in crime, as evidenced by this video. Maybe tell me something that I'm missing in some of these stories. I'd like to be able to find one positive in any piece of media, because any 45-minute block of TV is presenting so many ideas and so many visuals and so many lines and decisions at you that it's just very unlikely that you would dislike all of them. But sometimes, over 60 years, some of them do seep through. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, I do plan to do the reverse in the near future, like one bad thing about every story that I love. But also more broke canon, I guess. You know me, I don't really keep to a schedule. You might get any old shit out of this channel. Drop a tip in the Ko-fi if you please. Despite everything, it is still very fun to be talking to you about Doctor Who.